Good afternoon, and thank you for taking some time today to come on in. My name is Evan Roy, and I'm part of the hiring team here today at JP Morgan. We're excited to learn more about you and see if you would be a good fit for our team as an investment analyst. So, to get us started off, do you think you can give us an example of any investing you have done in the past?
Yeah, Evan, it's my pleasure. I've been doing this since I was 13. I invested on my parents' account and I used my own money to make more money and learn a lot of lessons along the way. And I've just had that passion for it for the past 7, 8 years. So it's been a fun journey to say the least.
Yeah, so it's something that you've been interested in for a very long time.
Absolutely.
That's good. That's good. So, what about that experience that you have with those past 7, 8 years sets you apart from other young investors wanting the same position, you would think?
I think a lot of people my age that are looking for this job are very undisciplined with how they would go about it. They maybe have gambled a little bit, maybe gone to the casino, but haven't really been investing for that long. And I feel like I've been doing it long enough to where I can regulate risk and return better than most people, especially since I've been doing this 7, 8 years, which is longer than most.
Yeah. So getting more into a little bit of with the job, a lot of it is with planning. A lot of it is seeing in the future. So if you were to come up with a plan and it didn't go to plan, I guess you could say, it didn't work out the way that you thought it would, how would you handle that negative feedback if I were to come to you and say that this is how it negatively affected the company?
I think I would see how much of it is like really my fault and that I would have to take responsibility for. And I would have to evaluate every single possible option afterwards that we could go about a situation. For example, if I'm the reason that a stock goes down and I should have done more due diligence on it, obviously I'm more at fault about that. But if it's something random like COVID happening and you can't really control that, then obviously I would probably be a little bit defensive about myself and say I don't think that is my fault.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So how do you think your knowledge of investing and analysis has developed over the years and through your education at LSU?
Well, I'll start with the education at LSU. I think that part definitely has helped a lot. There's a lot of good classes, a lot of good professors that have given me knowledge and information that I never really tied two things together that you don't really hear about too much in the public world. You kind of only hear it in direct education. And I think that's really helped me with my knowledge for that. And then on my own time, I would say just having that core experience of just losing a lot of money really, really gives you the hard lesson that a lot of people don't have. And it's really, really impactful for me when I see that huge loss and I'm like, oh, shouldn't do that. Maybe should try and approach things a different way. And obviously my wins also help a lot in my experience. And I'm like, I've done this before. Let's see if I can replicate that.
Yeah, so taking those losses, learning from them, and replicating the wins, that's always good. Always good. So I know when you're working with groups and working with teammates, it's very important to be able to have that leadership role or be able to work kind of on the back end of things. So how do you feel? How do you find yourself feeling comfortable in a group role, in a leadership role? How do you feel?
Well, I'm actually the president of the chess club right now. So I feel like I have a little bit of leadership experience, and I feel like there's a lot of experience that I have with other things. When I was in eighth grade, I laid the tomb of the unknown soldier. I was really involved in high school with different clubs, and I feel like that's really helped me establish a leadership personality. And also, I am pretty extroverted, as you know. So that definitely does help when it comes to being a leader. Because if you're too quiet, you can't really communicate well and effectively of exactly what you're trying to get achieved.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So if you were to value our company, JP Morgan, how would you value it to yourself?
Well, there's a model called the discounted cash flow model, which basically takes all of your dividends, future cash flows, and you set them, discount them back to the present, add all of those values up, and that would give a really good base value of the company. There's a lot of other different valuation measures I would look through, and then I'd probably just take five valuation metrics, take the average of it, and that's probably what I would give for the company. And hopefully, since y'all are a public company, it'd be pretty close to the actual value of the stock price.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the exact answer I was looking for. So yeah. Moving it a little bit more broad, just kind of what motivates you about about the financial industry that makes you want to work in this sort of field?
Two things. First thing, definitely the money. The upside is definitely extremely high with any regards to money. So I definitely will say that is an upside. And I
Absolutely.
think just working in groups with other people and my passion is something that I could never ask for in any other field. And since I have a passion for it outside of my job, and it's basically doing my passion as a job, but with other people, it's kind of a win-win situation, especially if, everyone works together to make not just ourselves money, but to make the firm money, to make our customers money. I feel like it's just a win-win situation.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this. This investment analysis position is very valuable for our company. 5 years from now, is this the job that you still see yourself doing it, or is there another jump that you would like to make? Is there anything you would like to? Yeah.
Absolutely. I mean, I feel like this is a job where a lot of people don't stay for a long time. They do their 2 years, 3 years, and then they go on to something else.
Mhm.
However, if I were to just do this, but at a larger scale and be given more money, more portfolios to look over, I would be pretty happy with doing this for 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 70 years. It really doesn't matter to me. It's basically my dream job. So obviously just working in this field at any level, as long as, I can get my hands on investing and risk return, can't complain.
Yeah, absolutely. Awesome. So if it wasn't investing, I gotta ask, what is something that you could see yourself doing outside of the financial industry, outside of money? What's something you could picture yourself doing?
Well, I'm a huge sports fan,
Yeah,
and I would have loved to be a head coach. I played a lot of Madden as a kid
football
and
guy.
a big football guy. So I would love to do anything regards to coaching football team. If I was athletic enough, I'd play football, but didn't hit that one. So I think the coaching side I could probably get into, just obviously very difficult. And I'd want to do it at an NFL level.
Awesome, awesome. So last question to kind of wrap things up. If a senior in high school were to come up to you, a young kid, and were to ask you, he said he was interested in investment banking and analysis, what would you tell him?
I would tell them two things. One, get ready to work 90-hour weeks because that's what this job basically is 90-hour weeks. And the second thing I would tell them is if you really like investing in the stock market and you go to a school where you have an opportunity to improve on that skill, 100% go for it because if you have that dedication and you really like it, it's not really work, it's just kind of doing your passion 24/7.
Yep. Absolutely. Awesome. Well, that's going to be it for me, man. I appreciate you taking the time out a lot. We're going to get back to you pretty soon here. I think you're a great candidate. Love the answers to the question. And like I said, man, thank you for coming out. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Evan.
Yeah, absolutely.